when you were, a
Tender
small
age.
boy, right? A tender age, exactly.
Yes, well, it's my wonderful parents from 1970 to 1985, which is when I stopped going on vacation with them, were both teachers. And that means in England that the summer holidays, the summer vacations are 6 weeks long. From 1970 to 1985, we would jump in whatever car we had and we would drive to the south of France and we would camp for 6 weeks in the south of France. And it was utterly idyllic. My parents were reasonably not well off, and we would trundle down. We started at the first 1970 to 1973. We were in a red Volkswagen Beetle. With a
India red.
India red VW Beetle. Goodness me, Jason, you've certainly done some homework. Well done. And towing a trailer full of Heinz baked beans and a tent on the top. And
Good image.
So what these trips to the Riviera did was utterly inspire and light a fire in a very young mind of the magnificence of the European sports car. So I fell in love with Alpines, I fell in love with Facel Vegas, I fell in love with Porsches, I fell in love with Citroens and Peugeots and Renaults. My father was a total Francophile. After the VW Beetle, which was clearly a bit of a blip, the first great, wonderful memory of my another memory of mine of 1973 is my father taking delivery of a new Renault 16 TS, white. WEX 7047L was the registration plate, and we'd go down to France in a little bit more comfort in our Renault 16. And I say this because the part of Singer is an emotional understanding of the appeal of the road trip and the appeal of dreaming of whether you're driving through Tuscany or whether you're driving through the Riviera or whether you're driving through, the Pyrenees in Spain. It's the emotional aspect of being in a fantastic piece of machinery and going somewhere. And this is a long-winded way of saying how my father introduced me to the Porsche 911 on an auto route, the A9 auto route in August 1970. As we were trundling along this auto route, and this car came up behind us, and he said, "Look over your shoulders, boys. Look what's coming up behind us." And there was this rather happy, smiling face the headlights were on, and it was a metallic green 911 Targa, and it tore past us at what felt like 1,000 miles an hour. And as it passed the car, I was fascinated to see that the back of the car looked very, very different to the front of the car. This is my memory of that moment, where the front of an old 911 has a big, smiling, happy face, two big eyes for headlights, and a big smiling bumper. I thought that's a happy looking thing. And then as it tore past, the back of the car had this utterly different demeanor, which was this. As we can imagine, it was accelerating. So the rear wheels were under negative camber. So they had this kind of knock-kneed delicacy, and also rather it just felt a bit uncomfortable. But more importantly, the rear lights were cross-eyed. The rear lights of a 911 looked kind of cross-eyed because of the way that the lights and of course it looked angry. It looked angry and pissed off, and it was squatting down at the back and knock-kneed, and it zoomed off into the distance. And my dad turned around and said, "That's a Porsche 911."